Alright, I'm tired of clicking buttons, setting reminders, and pretending I'm going to actually remember them. So today, we are going to make a calendar AI agent using N8N, because who needs manual effort when you've got automation, right? I type a thing, it adds a calendar invite, that's it. No fluff, no fancy buzzwords, just pure efficiency, even if it means 2% productivity improvement. This is just step one. Let's dive in before I forget why we are even here. Now we're going to do this in two stages. One, I'm just going to walk through about where I'm going to click, what I'm going to do, and the steps that I'm going to follow without actually doing it. And the second part, I'm going to do the walkthrough of doing all the exact steps. I realized this one thing, that there are a lot of UI elements that are there, and if I don't let you know about all of the elements, it's going to be hard for you to replicate and you will lose it midway. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to show you the plan, the overall plan that I have, and then how we're going to execute it. First of all, instead of trying to just build one big mammoth of AI agent, you'd rather focus on building just one element that does one activity or one action very well and progressively build it. So in my experience, you are going to build event related AI agents first. We are going to be doing this create event one. That's the one. And then you can progressively do all of these. Then event with contacts. So right now we'll add calendar invites, but it's not going to have any other email or any other contact within it. Next stage, after you are able to do the basics, you go on to creating single contact, multiple contact, and then additional fields, which is repetition, that is recurring calendar invites, adding Zoom links or Google links, Google Meet links, or any other activities that are possible using the interface of Google Calendar. So this is how you progressively do it. Our focus is going to be creating events. So how are we going to do it? We're going to basically do this. We're going to create a calendar agent where we're going to give the input, that is create a sales review meeting from 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. I may change this time depending on where I'm recording it, but we're going to give this input, and the output is going to be a calendar invite, which is going to be at this location here, that is sales review at 10 a.m. So even if you just are able to get this, you're going to get 2% improvement productivity boost if having to chat with somebody, or maybe upgrading it to voice chat and be able to do this activity. So this is really great. So that's what we are aiming for. Now, how are we going to do it? Let's look at all the steps. First things, we need to create a trigger, and this time we are going to take a very, very simple trigger, which is the on chat message, which is just like a chatbot experience. You type something there and it will trigger the entire AI agent to perform an activity. So you're just going to add the first step and then select on chat message, and then it's going to create your first node. Then the second step is going to be adding the AI agent, and you're going to select AI agent, and that's available when you click on the plus icon in the previous step here. It should be available, and you should be able to look at an interface like that, where you select advanced AI and then select the first option, that is going to be the AI agent one. Once you select that, you have your AI agent ready. The step 3 is going to then be adding the brain to it, or the large language model. And once you select the plus button here, it should ideally bring up few options, and for me it has best worked out to work with a free model, which is the Google Gemini chat model. So I'll select that. Now if you have DeepSeek API, please go ahead and use that. Olama, if you're using local PC, do that. I have one separate video where I have just configured the local N8N installation to Olama, and I'll be placing that link in the comment section below. If you have Open Router and any other APIs that you have, you can definitely use them. The fourth step, what we're going to do is add the Windows buffer, which is basically when you chat, you want to retain the history of the chat, so that the LLM could use the history in case you want to refer back to 2 or 3 conversations before. So in case you told him to do a meeting invite from 10 to 11 a.m. and then you forgot to mention with who, so you can then say, hey, for the meeting that you have recently added to the calendar, can you also add this particular person to it? So it can do that activity. So you're going to click on this. There are several tools for it, but we're going to use the Windows buffer memory. This is the easiest way. If you are advanced user, you can use any of the options here. So you can just click on the plus here and then add the memory. And the first step is going to be then adding the calendar tools, Google Calendar. we're going to be you're going to have multiple tools that are there if you click on the plus button here. So I would rather use a search button. Just look for Google and then look for Google Calendar tool. You should have the entire step ready, and now it should look something like this, where you basically have all of the elements available, and now you're ready to configure and get the activities done. Now step number 6 is definitely going to be configuration, and this is, I'm not going to focus on all of the other configurations. They are going to be very simple, but rather the Google Calendar one. In the when chat node, you don't need any configuration. Google Gemini chat model, you need to ensure that you are having the correct credentials. Windows buffer, again, nothing. But in Google Calendar, what we are going to do is fill in the credentials, right? So first of all, you want to have the right credentials, then set automatically, that is the tool description. Resource should be event. Operation should be create, because we are going to create an event while chatting at a bot. And then calendar should be email ID. Whose calendar should we add the invite, right? So you need to ensure that you have the right calendar email selected to be able to add that event. Then the rest of them are going to be easy. Previously, you had to write a bit of expression in the start date, end date, and the summary, which is the title of the event itself. So you have to write something around it, but today you can simply just click on the star magic button and it will automatically configure that. So that's how cool N8N has become. Now, even if you don't know coding, you should be able to configure this and be able to make it work without even any errors in the first attempt itself. Okay, so that's how you'll be able to create an AI agent on this step with all of these steps. Now we will move on to the next page, where I'm going to show you how to walk through and configure each of the events so that you can build this AI agent. Okay, now we are ready to build the agent. This is how the final product is going to be looking like. And we're just going to click on the chat here, type something here, and the agent should be able to add something on our calendar here. So let's go ahead and build it from scratch. I'm going back to the overview. And by the way, we have a community where we are building different agents. Every community member is building different agents, and we've hosted our own N8N platform on which we are working, and we are hosting this on a platform called as Cloudbean. It makes it very easy for us to host a self-hosted N8N agent, right? If you just log in, it's very easy. You can just add a server, select what kind of server you want, and then within the server you can just add an application. Go ahead and basically add N8N, and guess what? You can also add a DeepSeek large language model to go along with the N8N installation that you have. I'm yet to experiment on this, but currently we are going to use Google Gemini, which is the easy one. So Cloudbean makes it very easy for me to host and let our community create workflows, very easily. So I'm going to go ahead, create a new workflow here. What I'm going to do right now is I'm going to add the first step. The first step is going to be on chat message, right? So this has nothing. It will just pop up a canvas like this where you can configure something. I'm just going to hit on back to canvas on the top left here, and then just go exit this part of it, right? And I can hit the control and then zoom in, zoom out, and hit the space to basically manage this this place a lot more better. So I'm going to select that right now, and the next thing that we're going to do is click on add this plus button here, and here we're going to say advanced AI, and then select AI agent like I showed you. Okay, so here also we are going to select a tool agent, and then everything else remains the same. We can also add one other element, which is a system message, where you are just going to simply say you're a helpful assistant, and then this is the current date and time, and we're going to go to the expression and just say curly brackets, and we're just going to use this now. So what happens is that you'll have the current date and time. This is what's required by the agent to make calls like set a meeting today, tomorrow, yesterday. It's going to base it off this particular string. So if you don't do this, your calendar invites will be added, but the time will be slightly random. Okay, so once we configure this, uh, the AI agent is configured. We don't need to give so much prompt. It understands what it needs to do. All we can start doing is start adding the chat model. I'm just going to add the chat for while I'm creating this. So here, what we're going to do is add Google Gemini chat model. Here, I want to choose my Gemini key, which is free. Now, in case you want your Gemini key here, you can simply go to, Google Gemini API key, and you can generate your own key from this place. So I've generated my key from here, and I've plugged it into the credentials of my N8N here. So I'm going to use that for now. And the model that I'm going to use is going to be the latest one, which is the Gemini 2.0 Flash. uh, 2.0 Flash. So that's one. This is the one that I'm going to use. You can have several other, but I just like to use Gemini 2.0 Flash. You at this time, this is the latest that I have. So I'm going to use it. You ensure that you have this model. This model has tool access, which meaning it can control tools and do activity. Not all models can control tools, so you might get an error if you don't choose the right model here. Once you have the right model, or if you have any questions around this, do mention that in the comment section and we will be able to help you there. Now you don't need to add any other parameters here, just these two are enough. Now once this is done, your brain of the model is configured. Now we need to add a memory. This is first step, second step, third step, fourth step. You're going to add a Windows buffer. You don't need to do anything else here, just leave it as much as this. And the context window length is how many messages in the past does this buffer can this buffer contain, so that the LLM can refer back to at least 5 past messages. So you can configure this. I'll just leave it at default here. We don't need to change anything here. We'll make some space for this. And last not least, we're going to add calendar. So I'm just going to say calendar here, and you're going to add Google Calendar. Okay. Now, so overall, we have added all the nodes that are required here. This is the final step. Now we need to configure this, and this is the step that you need to configure well before you can execute stuff on it, right? So I'm just going to double click on this. You can go back to canvas, you can double click on this. There's a warning sign. Watch carefully how we're going to do it. I'm going to say KN Google Calendar account here. So I have the email that I'm using, the calendar that I'm going to add my invite to is the calendar that I'm going to be using, right? So that's my default calendar that I have. So once I selected that, this set automatically is going to be default, event is going to be default, create is going to be default. And then I'm also going to choose email that I'm going to add my calendar on. And I'm going to choose by default fxexcel@gmail.com. That's the one that I'm going to create. And here, start and date. Previously, you would have seen some tutorials where you need to add an expression, which is curly bracket, and then from AI it should. So now it's not there. I think so. Yeah, let me try to do it again here. Curly brackets and then say from AI. So it's not there in the latest update. You will not find that in some of the video tutorials. It is available, but all I'm going to do is let the model define this parameter. Okay, so I'm just going to click on this and boom, it's done. You don't have to do any additional configuration. Click on this, again done. So start date and end date are basically our ability to basically select this and say, okay, it's 6:45 to 7:45, right? So that start and end date, start date and end date time. Okay, and then add title is basically the summary that is there that we need to configure. So that one we can configure by going to add fields and then selecting summary, and then again you're just going to say let model define this parameter, and boom, all the configuration is done. It's that simple. Now there are several other fields that are available. You can explore them, but I recommend just keep them simple. Do the start date, end date, and the summary, and you should be able to run your AI agent much more effectively. So once you have this configured, you can go back and you can first save this so that you don't lose the work. And okay, let's just cross this one out. And now we should test it. But before we test it, there is one thing that you need to do, ensuring that this is in the right time zone. So what you're going to do here is going to go settings and ensure the time zone here is going to be Asia, Kolkata. I'm in the IST. So I'm going to select this. You can choose your own time zone. And that way the AI agent will ensure that your calendar invite is in the right time zone. Now our AI agent is ready, and now we can simply chat to it and be able to add calendar invites. So let's give this a spin. I'm just going to say set up a YouTube script review meeting for tomorrow at 8 a.m. to 9 a.m. And I'm going to say enter. Now it's going to go to the AI agent. It's going to access the model. It's going to store it in the memory, and it's going to add the calendar invite. So if I go there, my calendar invite is ready. That's how you can use AI agent to set calendar invite. Now, just drop a comment below if you feel that this is powerful. Even if you don't know coding or that technology, you should be able to do it. Now we're going to expand this, like I said in this previous, to be able to say create event, delete event, add people and all of that. So drop a comment if you want any specific use case that we can build, and we'll be more happy to build that. But right now the game is not over, or the learning is not yet over. I'm just going to show what happened here so that you're able to debug if something goes wrong or you face some errors. So first of all, if you're going to click on this, right, you're going to see that there are some input you give, right? It's going to capture it and it's going to give some elements that we could use. So here, you can look at it in tabular format, JSON format, or a schema format, various formats. And here it's just giving a session ID because it should know that this is the right session that I have. It's a action is send message and send YouTube script. That's the message that I sent, right? So that's a simple input. This chat message gets delivered to the tool agent. Now tool agent takes these three parameters that are the column names or parameters, whatever you can call them. It takes it, and then it says, okay, I've saved it to your calendar, anything else, right? So it gives me an acknowledgement of it doing that activity. But how did it get to doing this activity? Obviously it has three of these chat models, memory, and tools. So I'm going to go back to the chat memory and see what it did, right? So you saw that it gave a system message with all the details about my calendar and so many other things that possibly is required for the chat bot to be able to make a decision by my Google API key, and the models and all of the other things that I need to do along with the instructions that is available. So it generates, it does the activity, and then it provides, okay, I've done this activity, right? So that's what the model does, and this is the message, right? This is what you could simply copy this and then paste it into a chat GPT, and if the chat GPT has Google calendar in access, it'll be able to do the same activity. Okay, so here's a message that is available here, and that's how we are able to do it. So you can look at it in the schema, table format, and have different views to look at it. So once this message is there, right now, this guy has an access. The AI agent has an access. What it's going to do, it's going to store the conversation, right? So we gave the first conversation, and it gave an output. Now I can do another conversation, right? And it is going to save the output up to 5 different messages so that historically it can maintain that. Then last but not least, what's happening with the calendar. So the AI agent sends 3 things to it. There's a start, end, and summary, which are then basically plugged into this place, and the calendar invite, the API that we have with Google, it calls that API and then sets the calendar invite, and the calendar invite is shown on the Google Calendar that we have here. So that's how it does. And then finally what it does is, if it's successful, it's going to say, okay, I've 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 saved it. Anything else it's saying, we can say it to maybe delete it, change it, or whatever it is, and it'll do that activity just by chatting to it. So it's like having a personal assistant manage your calendar And as the next stage, what I want to do is have this triggered through a Telegram, which is a lot more easier to integrate with N8N, and be able to manage my calendar just from the Telegram, and be able to just give voice notes and manage my calendar. So let me know if you want that video to be set up, and I create it in the comment section. So I'll be creating that. But that's how you create your first AI agent and be able to manage your calendar. Now, in case you're facing problems with setting up the Google Calendar account, I'm going to place another video where I will teach you or show you all the steps on how I used the Google Cloud Console to be able to activate the APIs and generate API keys and client IDs and stuff like that, and create credentials to be able to linking linking your agents and giving access to the calendar. So I'll be placing that video in the link in the comment in the description so that you can learn from it. Boom, we just made a AI powered calendar agent using N8N. No more manually setting up events, just type a message and it magically appears in your calendar. But hey, this is just the beginning. What else should this agent do? Send reminders, book your vacations, order pizza, drop your wildest idea in the comments. I might just automate them next. Oh, and don't forget to like, subscribe and hit the bell button, or don't, I'm not your boss.